In this tutorial right here, I'm going to show you how to evaluate functions using composite functions. So what are composite functions? Composite functions are functions encased in their function. So for example, you have f of g of x. That would be an example of a composite function. Or you could write f and you write the open circle of g, just like that. Or you have g of f of x, which is g o f. You could write it like that. Or you could have d of f of x, and it'll be d o f. Alright, so the whole idea of composite functions is we're going to algebraically solve these. So a function encased in their function. So for example, it's asking me to find a composite function where f of x is equal to 5x minus 4 and g of x is x squared plus 3. Find f of g of x, so the function inside of f. Alright, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to algebraically substitute here. So f of x is 5x minus 4, right? And g of x is x squared plus 3. So what I'm going to do here is it's asking me for f of g of x. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write 5, which we have a 5. So we have, notice how we have an x here, right? So the x, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to substitute that with x squared plus 3. Because we're doing, notice how we're doing f of g of x. So I'm going to put x as x squared plus 3. And then don't forget the minus 4 on the outside. Alright, so that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm just substituting this inside of this. Because it's a composite function. It's inside of another function. So let's go ahead and do this algebraically. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to distribute the 5 to the x squared and to the plus 3. So it's going to be 5x squared, and it's going to be plus 15 minus 4. Then I can combine like terms. I get f of g of x is thus equal to, and it's going to be 5x squared plus 11. Alright, how about this? Find a g of f of x. Alright, so notice how we got a g on the outside, and then f of x is enclosed in the g. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to look at f of x and I'm going to look at g of x. So g of x, what I'm going to do is I'm going to solve for the x, right? The x right here, I'm going to put 5x minus 4. So it's going to be 5x minus 4, and then it's squared because it's x squared, then plus 3. Alright, so that's exactly what I'm doing. You just follow the steps, you substitute into the x value because you're finding it inside of another function. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to expand this. So 5x squared minus 4, I can write that as two terms is the same. So it's going to be 5x minus 4, and then plus 3. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply do some algebra here. So I'm going to FOIL. 5x times 5x is 25x squared, alright? 5x minus, or no, 5x times 4x is going to be negative 20x. And then 4x, or negative 4 times 5x is going to be minus 20x. And then negative 4 times negative 4 is going to be plus 16 plus 3. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just simply do algebra, combine like terms. I get 25x squared minus 40x plus 19. And that is g of f of x. So it does matter in which order you write the composite function. So make sure you specify if it's g of f of x or f of g of x. So that does matter, and you will see it on the exam. So make sure you pay close attention to some of those details. Alright, for the sake of practice, I decided I wanted to do one last problem. This one's a little bit different. So it's asking me to find f of g of 2. So these are the same exact functions. So I have f of x is equal to 5x minus 4, and then g of x is x squared plus 3, as in the last example, but it's asking me to find a specific value now. So what do you do when you see a problem like this? So the first thing you should do is you should find what's inside of the bracket, or the parentheses, and then work your way towards the outside. So what I'm going to first do is I'm going to find what g of 2 is. So to find g of 2, what I'm going to simply do is I'm going to substitute 2 for x in the g of x. So it's going to be 2 squared plus 3. Alright? 2 squared plus 3 is just going to be 7. So g of 2 is actually equal to 7. But it's asking me to find f of g of 2. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to substitute 7, which I got for g of 2, into x, or it's 5x minus 4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find that, and I'm going to 5 times 7 minus 4. 5 times 7 minus 4 is just 31. Therefore, the whole expression, composite function f of g of 2 is equal to 31.